Good morning, everyone. Hope that you all doing well. So now we'll be going to start the session. And yesterday we have discussed the introductory part of the image enhancement technique. Hope it's recording. Yeah, it's recording. Today Aditya Kishore will get the video link. He will be going to pass to you all. And yeah, hello, welcome to the video lecture series on digital image processing. Now, let us see that what are the other kind of image enhancement technique that we can have. The next image enhancement technique is again a very simple enhancement technique that we are going to discuss is called contrast stretching. Yeah, this is contrast stretching. So, why do we need such contrast stretch? You might have found that in many cases, the images that we get from an imaging device is very dark, and this may happen because of various reasons. One of the reason is when you have taken the image of certain object or certain scenes, the illumination of the object or the illumination of the scene was very poor. That means the object itself was very dark. So naturally, the image has very dark. The second reason why an image may be dark is the dynamic range of the sensor on which you are imaging is very small. Now, what I mean by dynamic range is it is the capacity of the sensor to record the minimum intensity value and the maximum intensity value. So the difference between the minimum intensity value and the maximum intensity value is what is the dynamic range of the sensor. I'll come again. I'll repeat this. This is very important. So naturally, the image has a dark range. So here we will be doing that now. The dynamic range is nothing but the minimum to maximum intensity value. So even if your sense is properly illuminated, but your sensor itself is not capable of recording all those variations in the scene intensity, that also leads to an image which is very dark. The another reason which may leads to dark image is that when you have taken the photograph, maybe the aperture of the lens of the camera was not properly set. Maybe the aperture was very small, so that very small amount of light was allowed to pass to the lens to the imaging sensor. So if the aperture is not properly set, that also leads to an image which is very dark. So for dark image, the kind of processing technique which is very suitable is called contrast stretching. So this figure we can see the dark image here. Now let us see what is the kind of dark image that we can have. Here we show an image which is a very low contrast. So here obviously you find that the contrast of the image or the intensity of the image is very poor, and overall appearance of the image is very dark, right? And the purpose of contrast stretching is to process such images so that the dynamic range of the image will be very high, will be quite high, so that the different details in the object present in the image will be clearly visible. So you can see one more here. Now a typical transformation which may be applied for contrast stretching operation is shown in this particular figure. So here you find that in this particular transformation, we have indicated two different points. One is R1 comma S1, that is this particular point, and the other point is R2 comma S2, that is this particular point. Now it is the location of this point R1 comma S1 and R2 comma S2 which controls the shape of this transformation function, and accordingly it influences upon that what are the defined type of contrast enhancement that we can obtain the processed image. Now, the location of this R1, S1 and R2, S2 are very, very important. You will find that if we make R1 is equals to S1 and R2 is equals to S2, then the transformation function becomes a straight line which with the slope equation equal to 45 degree. This means that whatever is the intensity image we have in the processed image, we will have the same intensity value. Okay. That means by applying such a transformation where R1 is equals to S1 and R2 is equals to S2, in this transformation function, we have said by applying that kind of transformation, the processed image does not undergo any variation from the original image. For other value of other combinations of R1, S1 and R2, S2, we really get some variation of the processed image. So the value which are mostly used is here. You will find that if I make the other extreme, if I make R1 is equals to R2, S1 is equals to 0 and S2 is equals to L minus 1, then that leads to threshold operation. So the corresponding operation generates the binary image, which is the processed image. Now for enhancement operation, usually what is used is R1 is less than R2 and S1 is less than S2, which gives us the transformation function as given in the particular figure. And this transformation function generally leads to image enhancement. Now the condition that R1 is less than or equal to R2, that is very, very important. So the condition is we have just that R1 is less than R2 and S1 is less than or equal to S2. Now this particular condition is very, very important, as you find that if this condition is maintained, then the transformation function that we get becomes a single value transformation function, and the transformation is monotonically increasing. So that is very, very important to maintain the order of the intensity value in the processed image. That is, an image which is dark in the original image will contains darker in the processed image. I'll repeat once again. An image which is dark in the original image will remain darker in the processed image, and image which is brighter in the original image, that will be a point which is brighter in the original image, that will remains brighter in the processed image. But what difference we are going to have is the difference of intensity value that we have in the original image and the difference of the intensity value that we get in the processed image. This is what give us the enhancement. But if it is reversed, if the order is reversed, in that case the processed image will look totally different from the original image, and all the transformation that we are going to discuss except the negative operation that we have said initially, means last class, all of them obtained this particular property that the order of the intensity value is maintained. That is, the transfer of function is monotonically increasing, and we will have a transformation function which is a single value transformation function. Actually, there is one more transformation technique called single value decomposition transformation technique that is not there in your syllabus, but that SVD we are using here to do this contrast stretching. So now you can come to one more figure here. You can observe. Now using this particular transformation function, this SVD, let us see what kind of results we can obtain. So in our earlier slide, we have shown an image which is a very low contrast image. That means this one. Now you can see here. Yeah. Here in this we can see that this particular slide, the left hand side image, you can see here. Yeah, left hand side, that whatever the earlier image we have got, the same left hand side we have put here of this particular diagram. Yeah, this is the original image, right? Left hand side one, which is a low contrast image, right? Yeah, and by using low contrast enhancement operation, we have got is an image which is processed image shown in the right hand side. Means the left hand side is the original image, the right hand side is the processed image. And here you can directly observe that more details are available in the processed image than in the original image. So obviously the contrast of the processed image has become much more higher than the contrast in the original image. So this is a technique which is called contrast stretching technique, which is mostly useful for image where the contrast is very poor, and we have said that we can get a poor contrast because of the various reason. Either since In either scene, illumination was poor, or the dynamic range of the image sensor was very less, or the aperture setting of the camera lens was not proper, and in such cases, the dark image that we get, that can be enhanced by using this contrast stretching technique. Now, there are some other kind of applications where we need to reduce the dynamic range of the original images. Once again, I'll just check my battery, whether it's okay, fine. Okay. Now, the application where we need to reduce the dynamic range is, say, for example, I have an original image whose dynamic range is so high that is cannot be properly reproduced by our display device. So normally we have a gray level display device or a black or white display device, which normally uses 8-bit. That means it can display intensity level from, that I told you, 2 to the power of 8 means what? 256 means 0 to 255. Totally it is 256 different intensity value. That means gray image. But in the original image, if I have a minimum intensity value of say 0 and the maximum intensity value of say a few thousand, then what will happen, that because the dynamic range of the original image is very high, but my display device cannot take care of such a high dynamic range. So the display device will mostly display the highest intensity value, and the lowest intensity value will be in the most of the case. That means, say for example you have captured one of the image in your mobile, like the mobile is having 24 megapixels of camera quality. Say I'm using 8 megapixels of camera quality. What are the image you have captured in your 64 megapixels of camera quality? In my device, suppose if you're trying to enter that image in my mobile, the mobile will show the camera quality up to 8 megapixels only. It cannot go up to 64 megapixels of camera quality. That is what I'm trying to tell you here. Yeah, this is a dynamic range compression here. And by that, a kind of image that we get usually is something like this. So here you find that on the left hand side, we had shown an image This is basically the Fourier transformation, that a circle, blue color. The DFT coefficient of certain image. On the left hand side, we have shown in the image in the Fourier coefficient, and here you can find that only at the center we have a bright dot, and outside this is the image is mostly dark or mostly black. It can be we can say it as a black or maybe mostly dark. Okay, but actually there are a number of intensity values between the 0 and the maximum and minimum, that is 0, but between this maximum and minimum value, but which could be reproduced by this particular device because the dynamic range is very poor. On the right hand side, we have shown the same image after some pre-processing, that is after reducing the dynamic range of the original image by using the image enhancement technique. See how the brightness is going here. So how it will be going, this we can see here, dynamic range compression technique here. S equals to transformation functions of R. And here you find that in the processed image, in addition to the bright spot at the center, we have many other coefficients which are visible as you move away from the center. So here our application is to compress the dynamic range of the input image, and the kind of transformation which can give us this dynamic range compression is the transformation of this form, which is a logarithmic form. S equals to S equals to C into log of 1 plus modulus of R. So here again we assume that R is the intensity of the pixel in the original image, and S is the intensity of the pixel in the processed image, and the relation is S is equals to what I said, T of R, which is equal to S is equals to T of R, that is equals to C into logarithmic of 1 plus modulus R, where the C is constant. This constant has to be decided depending upon the dynamic range of your display device. Okay, not your picture quantity, it's the display device, and the dynamic range of the input image which is to be displayed. And then log of 1 plus modulus of R is taken because otherwise whenever R is equals to 0, that is an intensity level in the input image is equals to 0, log of 0 is not defined. So to take care of that, we take 1 plus modulus of R, and if you take C into log of 1 plus modulus of R, that gives a completion of the dynamic range, and the image can be properly displayed on display where the dynamic range is limited. So here we can see some power law transformations. Here we can see all other transformations techniques. A similar such operation again for enhancement that can be used is called power law transformation. The power law transformation is normally used for different imaging device. This is used for image capturing device. It can be used for image printer and so on. In case of power law transformation function between the ordinary image intensity and the processed image intensity is given by S is equal to transformation function of R, which is nothing but S is equal to T of R, that is equals to C into R to the power of gamma. So in this plot that we shown, this plot is shown for different value of lambda where C is equals to 1. So you find that for value of lambda which is less than 1, this transformation function usually towards the lowered intensity side. It expands the dynamic range of a very small intensity range in the input image. Whereas for a higher intensity side, the higher range of input intensity is mapped to a lower range of the intensity value in the processed image. And the reverse is true for value of lambda which are greater than 1. Now, for this kind of transformation, the exponent is conventionally represented by the symbol lambda, and that is why the kind of transformation, this kind of correction is also known as the lambda correction. I'll tell you that lambda correction is very, very important, this sentence. The reverse is very true. The value, suppose for example, lambda is less than 1. Now, for this kind of transformation, the exponent is conventionally represented by the some symbol lambda, and that is why this kind of operation or transformation correction is nothing but lambda correction. And this kind of process is used, as I said, for different type of display devices. It is used for different type of printing devices. It is used for different type of capturing devices. The reason is all these devices mostly follow these power law transformation characteristics. So if I give an input image, that will be converted to power law transformation before the image is actually processed. Now, so to compensate this power law which is introduced by the device itself, if I do the reverse operation, then the actual image that I want to display, that will be displayed properly. For example, in case of CRT display, the relation between the intensity to voltage that follow the power law with the value lambda, which gives normally from 0.8 to 2.5. So if I use the value lambda equals to 2.5, then if I come to this particular figure, then you find that with lambda equals 2.5, this is the curve, or this is the correct transformation function that will be used. You can see there all the lambda values are given. So whichever image I want to display, the device itself will transform the image using this particular curve before displaying the particular image. And as this curve shows that the image which will be displayed will normally be darker than the original image that we intend to display. So what you have to do is, we have to take some corrective measure before giving the image to the CRT for the display purpose. So this is some elaborative way of explaining the concept of gamma correction. And because of this correction, we can compensate this power law so that our image will be displayed properly. So coming to the next slide here, you can find that here we have shown the image which is to be displayed, and the image is on the top left corner. You can see the monitor has a characteristics of power law. It has power law characteristics which is given by what? S is equals to R to the power of 2.5. And as we said that because of this power law characteristics, the image will be darker, and which is obvious that the image as displayed on the device is given on the right hand side. You can see there, and you will find that this image is darker than the original image. So to compensate for this, what I do is, before giving this image to the CRT display, we go for a gamma correction. That means you transform the image using the transformation function, that is S is equals to R to the power of 1 by 2.5. That is what we have done. So by this transformation, and if you refer back to our power law curve, you can see here the power law curve, you will find that the original image now becomes a brighter image. That is, the lower intensity range in the input image has now been mapped to a larger intensity value in the processed image. So as the result, the image has become brighter, and Then when this brighter image is given to the CRT display for display operation, the monitor will perform its characteristics power law, that is S is equals to R to the power of 2.5. And because of these characteristics, the earlier correction, the gamma correction that we have incorporated, that gets nullified, and we get the image. And now we find that the right bottom, that is the actual image now, which will be displayed on the CRT screen, and this image now appears to be almost same as the original image that we want to display. Okay, so this is a sort of enhancement, because if I do not use this kind of correction, the image that we are going to display on the CRT screen, that will be a distorted image. But because of the power law correction or the gamma correction, is called image that we get on the CRT screen will be almost same as the original image that we want to display. Now, this kind of power law transformation, it is not only useful for image device like CRT display or image printer or so on. Similar power law transformation can be used for enhancing the image. Now, the advantage that you get in case of power law transformation is that the transformation curve gets various shapes depending upon different value of gamma. This is the beauty of this gamma correction. By varying the gamma correction, we can get the output image however we want and wherever we want. And as we have shown in our previous slide, that means this one only, uh, that if the value of gamma is less than 1, here, the value of gamma is less than 1, then on the darker side, the lower range of intensity value will be mapped into a larger range of intensity value in the processed image. Whereas on the brighter side, the larger range of the intensity value will map into a lower range of the intensity value in the processed image. See here, if the gamma is less than, it will be mapping in the opposite side. If the gamma is right hand, it will be mapping in the opposite side. So that's the beauty of this gamma. And the reverse is true when gamma is greater than 1. So here you can see one real-time example that is captured in one of the camera that usually we use for, what is that? I forgot, something flying and thing, and a particular name I forgot. Okay, anyhow. So by using different value of gamma, I can have different power law transformation, and as a result that I can have is controlled enhancement of the input image. So as is shown in this particular case, here you find that on the top left we have shown an aerial image, and you find that the most of the intensity value of this aerial image are on the brighter side, right? So as the result, what happens is, if you find that most of the portion in this image are almost washed out, right? We cannot pick out the some important features in that. We cannot get the details of the image very easily. Now, if we process this image using the parallel transformation, then you find that the other three image, that is the right top image, is obtained by using parallel transformation, which with certain values of gamma. Similarly, the bottom left image using some other value of gamma, and right bottom image is also obtaining by using some other values of gamma. So based on the top of the image, on the top of the image feature, we can go for different values of gamma to obtain the particular feature from that entire image. And as it is unique obvious, in all these cases you find that the washed out characteristics of the original image have been controlled. That is, in the processed image we can get much more details of the image content. As you find that as we increase the value of gamma, the image becomes more and more darker, and which is obvious from the power law characteristics, the power law transformation function plot that we have already shown. So this is one more curve we can see. Yeah, this is another kind of process operation. The power law transformation can be used and also used to enhance some features of the input image. The other type of transformation that we can use for this image enhancement is called gray level slicing. See here, this is gray level slicing. So in case of gray level slicing, some application may need that application may not be interested in all the intensity value, but the application may need the intensity value only in the certain gray level values. So in such cases, for enhancement, what you can use is the gray level slicing operation, and the transformation function is over here. Here the transformation function on the left hand side says that for the intensity level in the level A to B, the image will be enhanced for all other intensity levels. The pixel will be uh, suppressed. So on the right hand side, the transformation function shows that again within A and B, the image will be enhanced, but outside this range, the original image will be returned. See, you can see here, and the result that we get is something like the first image shows that only the desired intensity levels are obtained or retained with enhancement. All other regions will have been suppressed. The right hand side image shows that the desired range of the intensity level have been enhanced, but other intensity level have retained as it is. So with this, we can stop our today's discussion on point processing. So we will continue with this topic in the next hour class. Or you want me to take one more slide? Is this enough for today's class, or you want me to conduct one more slide shadow open, or is it enough for you all? You can mail me or message me here. You can see the chat box. So some of them are chatting here. Yeah, yeah. Okay, fine. Any one of you, shall I